Well, I'm going to begin, Thomas, because I know I haven't got too long today. For those who don't know too much about Intergalactic, what can you tell us about Drew and how he fits into this story?
Drew Buchanan. Buchanan is he's one of life's good guys. He's very much like he takes on a job that his stepdad has told him to take on at a young age. Just because, maybe he's got dreams, maybe he wanted to go to college and do something else. But his stepdad was very much a working man. And he said to him, there's this job going, transporting officers for the prisoners for the Commonwealth. So Drew works on one of the ships that transport the prisoners from planet Earth to the outer space prison, if you like. And he's just a very day-to-day, bit bored. He's just a bit like, I'm just here for the money. I'll just get on with it, blah, blah, blah. And until he meets this particular convoy of people, and his life changes so much in a sense that he learns so much about himself and learns so much about the people that he works for. And, he experiences almost friendship in the most sort of unlikely way with people that he never thought that he would be friends with. And he's kind of he's just a he's just a day-to-day guy that gets caught up in this sort of mental world, which I think he loves. It's probably the bit of excitement that he's been looking for a long time. He's a great guy.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great character, and one that, like you said, is so well sort of fleshed out and stuff. But at the same time, when you read the script, was it quite refreshing to take a screenplay and read a screenplay where the male characters do take a slight step back? Because this is such a kind of female-driven piece. It's quite, as an audience member, it's refreshing, at least.
Yeah, of course it was. I mean, it was a great character from the start. I mean, he was, like I said before, he's very bored in his life and he's looking for a bit of excitement, which I guess we can all sort of relate to in a way. We sort of get on. I mean, we get on with our lives, and then every now and then something mega exciting happens, and then your life's just like, wow, I've been searching for this for a long time. So yeah, I mean, reading the script for the first time was very sort of like, I don't want to say daunting, but because there's a lot going on in a world that I'm not familiar with personally, in the sense of spaceships, let's say. But yeah, it's kind of like, it was a great learning curve, and also, like you've just been saying, with a heavily led female cast. I mean, the cast that we managed to get for it was just incredible, and it was refreshing to see, in particular Sharon Duncan-Brewster, who plays Tula. Excuse me, she takes full control of the whole ship, and it's just like, and she was amazing. She was petrifying to the point where, like, obviously, I mean, me and everyone who watches it knows it's not real in a sense, but like watching her on set was just like, it was just a masterclass, really. And you're not just Sharon, it was everybody, and in their own right, everybody sort of really, really nailed the parts, and it looks great, and the characters are terrifying, but also you love them to bits and you really want them to do well, and you kind of understand why they're doing what they're doing when it comes to further on in the series. So yeah,
because I mean, obviously you've starred in your fair share of kind of gritty, realistic, kind of kitchen sink drama-esque stuff, but is it nice sometimes to just wear a spacesuit and walk around a huge big set? Yeah. I mean, it must tap into a different part of the kind of enjoyment of acting. Yeah,
I mean, it was like, I remember when I read it, because I still feel really young. I mean, I'm 29, but I mean, God, I could still keep up with the 18-year-old, 19-year-olds at football, and I'm still a child at heart, really. So when I read the script and I was like, oh, he's a prison officer. I've never really taken on an adult role who's in control of people, in a sense that, whatever I say goes to a certain extent. If I tell you to get in your cell, or if I say you can't go to the toilet, then you can't go to the toilet. So it was nice to sort of read that character, but that very quickly changes. He's very much not in charge of the situations that he finds himself in. But yeah, I mean, it was great to take on a role. And like you say, just the whole thing was just like, I remember Kieran, the director, took me to the sets when I went for my first costume fitting at the Space Studios in Manchester. And I tried the costumes on and I had my gun, and straight away I just felt totally different to anything that I've done before. And then Kieran took me to the corner of the studios, and we was walking through everything, the sets that they built. And I turned around and I looked at this huge studio, and I remember thinking, like, this is it. This is as good as it gets for me. I've never really experienced anything like this in the grand scale of the way that everything was done. And yeah, it was just it was a real treat, really. And it spoiled me, I think. I don't know what it's going to be like when I go back to, eating my lunch in a cold working men's club in Sheffield or something. But yeah, it was great. It was really great fun. And like I said, such a massive learning curve. Every job that you do, you always learn so much. But this in particular was just like, because it was such a long shoot as well, I learned so much about myself and just my own personal life. It opened so much up for me and really, really welcomed me into a real job that I could get my teeth into. And yeah, it was a real treat.
Oh, it sounds like a great experience. But it sounds like you've had a nice little run at the moment, because Creation Stories obviously seen recently. No, so I read that you said your dad said it's the best film you've ever done. That's pretty high praise.
Yeah. It's very, my dad's super proud of me, and I know that, and he knows that, and everyone who knows him and knows us well knows that he's proud of me. But he's very much an old school dad. He won't say to me, Tomo, do you know what, mate? I'm super proud of you. But when he watched Creation Stories, he was just like, that for me was one of the best things. And he's convinced it's, he said it's going to be a cult classic. And because I guess we're kind of like, we're not chasing that off the back of This Is England, but we do want something for me that people for a long time are going, you know what, that was brilliant. A bit like they do for This Is England. And I think that the Creation Stories really captures that sort of old era. And yeah, and again with Intergalactic, this is going to be it's such a huge show. It's going to have such an impact on people. People are going to love it. And again, my dad, he's it's not a sci-fi, and I need to stress that, because it's quite a daunting title. When you say sci-fi, people are very much, you have to be into that sort of genre, whereas this is not what it is. And my dad's very much, and my wife included, is very much not a sci-fi buff. And when we watched it, and we both just said, my dad's such a huge fan of the show, and the same with my wife. It's very much not that again, just to stress it, like, we don't want people to read it and go, oh no, it's sci-fi, I'm not going to watch that, because just goes to show that people like my dad, who love films like Quadrophenia and 24 Hour Party People, and those sort of old British cult classics, and for him to watch something that is of a genre of sci-fi, I guess, for him to love it, for me, it was important for me that he liked it as well. So yeah, I guess I work really hard to make mostly my family and my friends proud, and the family that have seen Intergalactic really, really love it. So yeah, so job done, really.
Yeah, there's no praise really, is there, still, like that from your dad or your friends and stuff? I guess even with you obviously across your career with great reviews from critics and stuff, but probably getting a pat on your shoulder from your dad saying good job is probably about as high as it gets.
When the boys in the pub, or when the lads out in the group chat are texting and they're saying, oh yeah, we've just watched Creation Stories and it was quality, that for me is like buzzing, because it's such an outside industry to people who I spend my day-to-day life with, my family, and my Grimsby family and my friends have never experienced any acting or ever done anything, or even been involved in the industry. So for people, so when I go off and do it, it's kind of like they're a bit like, I don't think they quite understand it. So when I get the praise from these people, it really does mean a lot for me. So yeah, it's exciting to see what the boys are going to think of Intergalactic, but I think they'll love it.
It's hard not to. But you mentioned that you're still kind of child at heart, but you're 29 years old now. I just wondered if, because just thinking of Creation Stories being directed by Nick Moran, have you given much thought to one day stepping behind the lens and doing anything in the kind of behind the scenes, maybe directing, producing, that sort of stuff?
Not really. I don't know. I guess it's kind of like a lot of actors who I've met along the way have sort of said, oh, I want to go into directing. And I don't know if it's just because that's what a lot of cool people have done and they're just saying it just because they feel like that's the avenue they've got to take. I've never I enjoy what I do in a sense of being behind the camera, in front of the camera, and being able to express myself in front of the camera. So I've seen how stressed directors can get. And I don't know if I can handle that stress. I don't know if I've got the patience for it. So I don't know. Not really. I would maybe like to write some stuff, because I feel like I've lived a very interesting life. Even before I started acting, I had a very interesting life, I feel. And then the path that that I chose in terms of following the acting career. I don't know. Maybe there's some stories. It's one of them. I'll lay in bed at 3 a.m. and I'll go, "Oh my god, that'd make a great film," and then I'll make little notes. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe writing or co-writing, sort of being involved in the making of a great story. But I think I'd like to hand it over to someone who's passionate about directing. And yeah, because I guess I'm not really passionate. I've never thought about directing, so I don't know. Maybe I'd make a bit of a fool of myself if I did. So yeah, or upset someone.
Well, you mentioned before you sort of mentioned This Is England. Don't worry, I'm not going to sort of start asking you all questions about that. I know you've spoken about it many times, but I saw an article the other day that said, "This is England, where are they now?" And it just got me thinking, like, God, it's quite a while ago now, isn't it? That whole period. And I just wondered if because I don't know if it's just a lockdown thing, but people have been getting quite nostalgic in lockdown, looking back and stuff. I just wondered if you've used the last kind of year as a means to kind of look back over some of these great sort of highlights of your life.
Yeah, I mean, look, there isn't a day go by where people, don't mention This Is England on social media, or if I'm in the shops or anything like that. And that's great for me. And I will always be super proud of that. And, I could never really get fed up of talking about it, because that's where I started. And that's what gave me the chance to go on and do things like Intergalactic and creation stories. And, but then that's given me the chance to then work on these other great projects. And I think about, Intergalactic in particular, because I'm not just banging on about Intergalactic because that's what we're here to promote, but genuinely I learned so much about myself. And because it was the last job that I worked on properly since lockdown, it's kind of like all I've been able to think about, in a sense that it's given me a lot of time to really think about what people are going to think about it. Because normally, when I did creation stories, let's say, I literally finished creation stories on a Friday, and then I think on Monday I was in Manchester ready to start Intergalactic. So I had no time to think about it. I had no time to worry about it or think about how people are gonna take to it. So yeah, for this, I finished Intergalactic and then sat at home for 15 months coming on now. So it's given you nothing but time to think about it. And yeah, I mean, I guess it's just, I think a lot of people have learned a lot about themselves over the last sort of year or so in lockdown, and it's really made you appreciate things. And, I've never wanted to be back on set more than ever. So yeah, I guess it's just really, really taught us to appreciate everything that we have. And anyone who works on Intergalactic and any other things that I've done know that I am super appreciative of the job that I've been so lucky to manage to keep hold of for so long. So yeah, I guess it's given me a lot of time to really reflect and appreciate my job more, if that was possible, if that answers the question.
No, it does, because it sounds like, Intergalactic had such quite a profound effect on you. I mean, it's one of those things where the strength of characters across the board is so strong. You must be hoping that it gets more, there could be more series of it down the line. Because I guess when you're an actor, all you can do is just cross your fingers and hope. But it does feel like something that we could hopefully be watching for a few years to come, potentially.
I hope so. Yeah, I mean, it'd be great. I mean, again, because of the relationship that we all had, I mean, we got on so well, the gang. I mean, it's totally different to the relationship, not to keep going on about This Is England, but I made such a great friendship group from that show. But also, I speak to Ollie Coopersmith, who played Echo, every single day, and I'll be on the Xbox with him in an hour's time. So that in itself, it's great, because I've made a friend for life there. And also, a lot of the ladies, with Sharon, I speak to Sharon a lot, and Diany and Imi and all of the guys. So that in itself is enough for me to think, right, that's the main thing that I want to go back. And, if we got to do another series, that would be great, because not only because it means I'm busy and earning money and paying my mortgage, but it also means that I get to spend, half of the year, if not more, with these amazing people and playing a great character. And every single morning walking into Space Studios and seeing them sets, you can never get bored of that.
Yeah.
Never get bored of that, because they were so incredible, and like so much respect for the props guys and the set designs and the producers and things that have managed to create that, because it's just like nothing else I've ever seen before. So yeah, I just want to, and I love Manchester as a city. I love Manchester. So if we can go back and get to have more fun there, then yeah, that would be great. Yeah, it really would.
So my final question is, just sort of touching upon what you just said. I mean, it sounds like that's such a huge part of it for you, isn't it? The whole kind of collaborative part of it and making friends. And because that is, we all as audience members just see what we see on screen. But for you, it's all about the experience of making new connections and making new friends and enjoying yourself. And it always seems you do get to enjoy yourself. I guess you must hold that side of it in such high regard.
That's the main thing for me. And you know what? I think it's because and I think it's so important for the audience as well, because you've got to believe that we're friends. It's so and the trust that we all had for each other on set and off set really, really does show on screen. So that's a major factor for me. And do you know what? I've got a lot of friends who have worked a lot through lockdown, and they said that what it's like on set at the moment, and they've said that they're not allowed to be within so far of each other when they're not filming, and they've got to be segregated away from everyone else. And you know what? I genuinely thought I don't think I want to work in those conditions, and I get that that's what we need to do. I do understand that with COVID protocols and things like that's necessary, but 99% of the job for me is messing around and just having fun. And if I'm not on set, if I've got an hour, I won't go and sit in my trailer because that's boring. What I'll do is I'll go and wind the costume department up, or see what dogs are in the costume that day, or I'll go and sit with the lighting or the sound, or I'll go sit with the producers in the office, or I'll go and I'm just always around. I'm like a social butterfly when I'm on set. So if that's taken away from me, it quickly becomes work. And I really don't feel like what I do is work. And if it becomes about learning your lines, turning up, doing your scenes, and then going sitting on your own, I don't think that's not for me. So that is so important in a sense that I need to be around people when I'm working. I don't mind when I'm at home, but when I'm working, I need to be with people. I need to be distracted. Otherwise, God knows what, I don't know. I'll just go a bit mad, I guess.
Yeah, but it's good. I think that's why audiences are so drawn to you and your performances, because you always get a sense that you just love what you do, and I think that comes through. So yeah. Anyway, we'll carry on doing that. The industry needs as many people like that as possible. In fact, and best of luck with the release.
Thank you very much. Nice to see you again, Stefan.
Yeah, you too. And before I do go, congratulations on becoming a dad.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's very exciting. Thank you very much.
Cool, man. All right, well, take care, Thomas. I'll speak to you soon.
Mate. Bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys.
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey You Guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yeah.
Nice.
Hey